Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and Happy New Year. So if you had watched my previous videos, you know that I made a promise to film more while I was at school, and I did an awful job of keeping that promise. So if you don't know, I'm a freshman, I'm a student athlete, and I have a job, so I kind of have a lot going on. Plus I had some medical issues going on. Kids are always freaking drag racing outside my dorm. It's like literally the most annoying thing. I don't know if y'all heard that, but literally kids race in the parking lot. It really sucks. Anyways, so this semester I'm going to do a way better job of writing my articles and keeping up with my YouTube channel. So stay tuned for content this year in 2020. Now let's get into the video. So I recently wrote an article about how not to encourage a Blexit. Now Blexit, walk away. There are all these new movements sprouting up ever since the 2016 election to encourage people to move to the right, or at least away from the Democratic Party. And most of these movements are pointed and directed at minorities, specifically Black people, like Blexit. And this is not really a critique of Blexiting or people who have Blexited. I myself was never a Democrat, but I was a liberal at one point in my life, so I kind of understand where they're coming from. But this is more of an observation and a slight criticism of some of the phrases and terminology I hear used by those supporters of those types of groups. I freaking love strawberries, bro. So, the name calling. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Brainwashed, lazy, thug. I've seen it all, and I've seen it all come from the right. I'm not saying that it's only the right, but I'm saying I've seen all of this types of terminology come from certain people representing the Republican Party, and that's not what I want to see happen. I want to see virtuous people step forward, responsible people step forward, caring and thoughtful people step forward. Not these loudmouths on the internet yelling at people that they're brainwashed, that they need to get off the plantation, that they've been whipped into the Democratic plantation, that the Democrats have brainwashed them and enslaved them. Like, nobody's trying to hear all that. I promise you, nobody's trying to hear all that. You want to know how I know that that's not going to help any Black people get off of the Democratic plantation? You want to know how? It's because liberals do that to me every single day. You know how many times I've been called brainwashed because some liberal thinks that because I'm a woman of color that I shouldn't be a conservative? You know how many times I've been told that I'm a slave because I wear a MAGA hat? That had no effect on me or my beliefs. It actually made me veer away more from the left. So what I'm trying to tell you is that's not the way to go. And it's very ineffective. And it does the complete opposite of what you're actually trying to accomplish, which is to bring more people over to the right. My other main point from that article was about statistics, namely fatherlessness statistics. So I see this all the time. 70% of Black children are fatherless, or 70% of Black children are raised by a single mother, like without their dad around. And that's a false statistic. First of all, that number does not take into account fathers who live in the home but are just not married to the mothers, or divorced fathers, or fathers and mothers who just never got married and the father lives outside the home but does have contact and does spend time with their kid, or dead fathers or incarcerated fathers. And that makes up a big chunk of the Black community, all those combined. And I'm not saying that's a positive thing. I definitely think that more Black people should be getting married, but let's not act like just because people aren't married doesn't mean that that kid does not have a dad, or that kid will never see his father. Because let's be real, I almost said it's 2019, but it's 2020. Family dynamics have changed, and I don't necessarily think that's a good thing that fathers are not married to the mothers, but let's just not act like Black kids are just running around with no parents or no dad, because that's just not the case. Because I have a strong Black father, my Black friends have Black fathers, whether they're married to their mothers or not, whether they live in the home or not. So let's just give some credit to Black men here, okay? They take care of their kids. And studies actually shown by the CDC show that Black men who live outside of the home, meaning they don't have cohabitation with their children, they actually spend more time with their kids doing activities such as reading books, eating meals with them, than other races. And I can link that in the description. So that talking point that 70% of Black children have no fathers and that's somehow related to the Democratic plantation, it really just doesn't make any sense. You can't make the argument that conservative ideals and conservative values would make the family unit stronger. You can definitely make that argument, but let's give some credit where it's due. It's a similar thing with the black on black crime rate that people love to bring up, like how 94% of black murder victims are murdered by a black murderer. It's similar statistic for white people. It's about 86%, I believe, for white people are murdered by other white people. It's mainly about proximity. Like, I'm not gonna drive cross country to kill somebody if I could kill someone in my own backyard. Not that I'm gonna kill somebody, but just if I was like in the mind of a killer. Most black people aren't murderers and thieves, okay? Yes, there is a huge crime problem in poverty-stricken, mostly black areas such as Chicago, Baltimore, and Detroit, but it wasn't always that way. So what you can say, instead of saying that black men are just killing each other in the streets when it's really not most black men and white people have a similar intraracial crime rate, let's talk about how conservative ideals can uplift the family unit and stop the needless gang killing. That's really all I'm trying to say. There are certainly effective ways to bring people over to the Republican Party or the conservative ideology if that's what you're trying to do. But some of these ways that people are trying to go about it, it's not working, and it's actually doing the opposite of what you wanted it to do. I'll link my article in the description, which contains the CDC link and contains a couple other sources that you can look through. If you want to, you can definitely look through the rest of my articles on Porter Medium. I've written about a lot of conservative subjects, some racial subjects, so if you find that type of stuff interesting, go ahead and check that out. And please comment and hold me accountable to uploading more and hold me accountable to writing more stuff, because I really like doing it. Sometimes I don't really know what to make a video about, and I get really stressed out like in front of a camera sometimes, so that kind of prohibits me. And also I get really busy with schoolwork and athletics and actual work and stuff like that, but I'm gonna try my best this year. It's one of my 2020 resolutions to upload more videos, so let's do it. Happy New Year, and thank you for watching.